We are going to discuss a lot today. We're going to go over what's been happening energetically, both in terms of the big energy sequence over the past month, going all the way through to what's happening now and what we can expect for the next 2, 3, 4 months in the future. And we'll wrap up with the energy integration in AUM, a group AUM meditation. So let me pull up the chat, see everyone in here, and then we'll get started. So, okay, I see some people in the chat. It's great. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. So we have a lot that's been happening over the past 3 months, but really the past 6 weeks has been a quite intense sequence of energies that's been nonstop. And so this started really with the total solar eclipse and the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction back in April. But the space weather back then wasn't that strong. It was just more of these really powerful planetary resonances between that total solar eclipse, between that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, April 21st. And those were the seeds of some of the very intense energies that we had later with that G5 geomagnetic storm going from May 10th to the 12th. That was also seeded by the May 7th new moon in Taurus at 18 degrees. The geostorm occurred at 21 degrees of Taurus. So going back all the way to May 7th to now, we're going through a whole bunch, a whole bunch of stuff. And so we can look at that Kazemi sequence right here. And this is effectively what we've been going through for a while now. And so I just feel like today's a good day, being Sunday. I feel like today's a good day for us to look at what happened, talk about it a little bit, integrate those energies, and then finalize that and wrap it all up in a bow with a group AUM meditation. And so all of us will be OMing from around the world. And the way resonance works is that the more resonators you have, the stronger the vibration. I think this is something that's pretty well known. Hi everyone, I see you on the chat. Welcome, welcome. We have more people today. Hey Troy. So we are going to do a group AUM meditation. I'm just going to basically, I'm here in my room with the live stream setup. I'm going to AUM for as long as I want, and so people can jump in, jump out, whatever. We'll also probably do some questions throughout. If you want to ask a question, make sure you do @Stefan Burns so I see it pop up, because the text is kind of tiny and there's other chats also happening parallel in the live stream chat. So we'll start with this Kazemi sequence. We'll also look at the sun, what's been happening there, and just talk about some energies in general. This is going to be a very relaxed live stream today. This is not meant to be stressful or scary. I don't really aim ever to make people fearful. YouTube does have certain things about thumbnails at work. But it's always just more the shock and awe of how crazy and wonderful our universe and solar system is. I don't think people should be afraid of these things. And so this is really, this is why integration is important. If you're always just looking ahead, you don't have time to integrate the past. You can't take those energies, reformat them, and polish them in a nice way. So a lot of people were looking at this Kazemi sequence before it happened, because we knew it was going to happen, right? Planetary energies work like that. The planets have their orbits. People were looking at this with a lot of people like, oh my God, it's going to be crazy, or the total solar eclipse, or the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. And there were some energies with those that were very, very crazy. Let's be real, at least in my life. But it doesn't mean that you should be afraid of them or fearful or scared. And we got through it. Anyone that didn't get through it wasn't meant to get through it. And so they're looking down now, right? But all of us in this live stream got through that. Here is that Kazemi sequence. So this is going from May 7th to June 23rd today. This starts with the new moon, which really kind of kicked off this whole thing. Of course, the moon doesn't show up in here. It would have if it was on the ecliptic. Then it would have passed right like that. But this is a Kazemi sequence. So we have Uranus on May 12th, and then Jupiter on May 17th, Venus on June 4th, and then Mercury on June 14th. So there's Uranus right there, followed by Jupiter, and then Venus coming in like this. And watch Mercury. Right after that Kazemi, Mercury like this, going really fast. Mercury does that. And right now, if you look up at the night sky right after sunset, Mercury is extremely bright right now, and Venus is extremely bright right now because they're still very close to the sun. When they're at their longest elongation, their greatest elongation away from the sun, they'll still show up at the same time, but they're not getting as much magnitude light from the sun. So right now they're extremely bright. It's really pretty. I recommend you go out after sunset and look at them on the horizon, and then the moon will come up too, and it's nearly full. It's a waning gibbous now. Yes, I am still on a break from cannabis. We can talk about that more maybe a little bit later. So hi everyone, I see you all in the chat. Welcome. So again, you'll notice with this Cazimi sequence that Jupiter, Uranus go this way, and Venus and Mercury go this way. The reason why is the sun passed over Uranus, that passed over Jupiter. They're slower movers. So the sun's moving forward, and Venus is moving faster than the sun, and Mercury is moving even faster than both of them. So that's why we have this split in terms of their difference. But what we're seeing effectively, see that right there, rapid triple sequence of Cazimis, and then we get this fourth one coming in. Basically, all four of these plants have now been reborn in the heart and fire, in the furnace of the sun. So Mercury is an inner planet. Venus is an inner planet. These really speak to our inner expression and our day-to-day life and our consciousness that we carry, our interactions with people. We also have Jupiter at 5.2 astronomical units, not the inner solar system, but right there at the border. It's not Neptune, it's not Pluto, very much involved with our day-to-day, also undergoing to Cazimi, then going further out Uranus too. So then we have some of these background cosmic energies, collective consciousness energies that also have this rebirth. Of course, for Jupiter and Uranus it occurs every year, for Mercury and Venus a little bit more often, but a rapid sequence. And you'll see there too at the beginning of this, you'll see all the solar flares and coronal mass ejections that were launched, the proton radiation storms, or all those speckles. So we've also had a tremendous amount of space weather during this period of time. So this SDO imagery here and the chronograph imagery is really, really amazing to see the astrology at play and to see the energetics at play. And so now we're at the tail end of that Cazimi sequence. Those energies are reverberating out, but we don't have any Cazimis coming up for a while because all the outer planets are behind the sun now, and it won't be until Mercury goes retrograde that we'll get another one. And that's like, I think in September or so, starts in September, October, and then Venus, it'll take a while before she does her retrograde Cazimi. So yes, we're gonna do a group OM. If anyone is just tuning in now, we're going to do a group OM at the end. We're just talking energy integration right now. So let's look at the sun to see what the sun's been doing. Here is our sun, and we are now just having these big sunspot groups rotate into view. We almost had an X flare today. You'll see coming up a very, very high M class flare. It's like 9.7 or something. It's very brief, and it's near the end of this. There it is right there. And that was from the sunspot group that's actually still on the far side. Maybe now it's rotating into view. So that was eclipsed. Not all that energy reached the Earth, so that probably was an X-class flare, but we only got a high M class in terms of our X-ray reading for that. So we have some flares, some flare players already rotating to view. These big sunspot groups here, they've opened up, become tremendously large, a lot of flux, but it's all staying internal. They haven't flared really at all. But now we got some known flare players here. Another thing to watch is that these are exactly 180 degrees apart. So there's this built-in polarity in this axis right now that's active. So it's really sweeping through like this, and depending on how long that stays alive for, we could be seeing continuous solar activity and solar storming for the next 2, 3, 4 months. We're hitting new records in terms of sunspot numbers. So solar cycle 25 maximum is like right now. This summer is like late spring and summer is really going to go down as a very big period for solar maximum for solar cycle 25. And especially now that we have these massive sunspots on both sides, if any one of them, there's always going to be something on the Earth facing side or in that radiation strike zone on the western limb. So we have a lot of solar energies coming up. We just had that Cazimi sequence. And so what can we talk about with that Cazimi sequence? Well, we had Uranus go conjunct, Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury. We've gone progressively closer in. So first we had these kind of outer, more subconscious collective energies get reborn. greater awareness of our connection to others, how we interact, societal groups and organizations, communities, things of this nature, they're being rebirthed, right? And that can be that's a death and rebirth process. That can take some time. Hi, David. Welcome. So then it moved a little closer. Then it went to Jupiter. And now Jupiter is undergoing this. And so now this is kind of the aspect of reality concerned with like our faith and our outlook on life, whether we're optimistic or pessimistic, right? Do we believe that everything's working out for us, or are things not going our way, right? Our luck, many ways like our wealth, the things that are coming into us, our higher mind, our spirituality, this is all Jupiter. That is now being reborn. And then it goes Venus. Now it's a little closer to home. Our relationships, what do we value? A lot of people talk about Venus as love. Love is very important. But what do we value? What are our values? That's a real big one. Like, if there's a lot, it's like, do you value, it's so complex. It's so wide ranging, right? It's not just about do you value money, or like, do you value stability? Do you value just material resources? Do you value harmonious connections? Do you value people that are spiritually awake in your life, that are willing to, ascend to higher consciousness and say sorry when they did something wrong and cheer you on when you're doing something right, and same for you? Like, what is it that we really value in life? Do you value where you're living? And like the weather, are you able to go outside and have a good day? Are you always not enjoying, all these things with value? It's a big one, right? But it also talks about love and more. And then we go to Mercury, which is really now our day-to-day in many ways. And that now, so we've had this energy ripple go all the way from outer to in, caused by our sun, which is representative of light consciousness. And now that's finally kind of being formatted in to everybody individually and collectively. The sun's magnetic poles, it's not like they flip in one day. It's not like all of a sudden they go here and then they flip. It's this whole long process. So that's why a lot of these videos coming out on the flip of the sun's magnetic field, they're like, it's flipping tomorrow. It's really dumb, because it's like a 3 to 4 year process where the magnetic field strength of the poles gets weak, and then it just basically becomes a chaotic mess for like 2 years until you start to get clear polarity reemerge, but now it's flipped. So it becomes a multipolar sun for a while. And so it's like, has it flipped yet? Has it not? Once we see clear polarity, then we know that it's flipped. But that's going to take probably at least another 12 months before we even start to see the beginning of that. Right now, we're right in that chaotic jumble. So that's also kind of like where we are energetically. Like, we're coming off of 2020 and the pandemic, the plandemic, like whatever you want to call it. That whole new energy sequence that began in 2020, starting with January 12th, which was a Sun, Saturn, Pluto, Mercury, Ceres conjunction, right? So that's Saturn, Pluto conjunctions are pretty malefic. Those aren't good cycles. And then on winter solstice, December 21st of 2020, we had a Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, starting a new triplicity cycle. That began the air triplicity that will be in for like the next 100 plus years. That's at 0 degrees of Aquarius, about 30 arc minutes. And so now this summer, we have these squares coming up for the first time. Yes, plandemic. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think that's a question anymore. We have these Jupiter-Saturn squares that are coming up all this summer. So I have the dates here. There's going to be a 5-degree orb between Jupiter and Saturn from July 29th through September 16th. And a lot of people will give them like a 15-degree orb. So this is a tight orb, 5 degrees, July 29th through September 16th. And their conjunction is on August 20th at 17 degrees, 28 arc minutes of their respective signs. So Jupiter is in Gemini and Saturn is in Pisces. This is Western tropical astrology for our local grid system based on the seasons. And Saturn will be retrograde during that. So it's going to be backtracking, looking at things, examining your karma, and Jupiter is going to be moving forward, saying, I'm just going to bust through this wall. And there's going to be that tension. all the way from July 29th to September 16th with a 5-degree orb. And if you expand it out to 10 degrees or more, we're already in it. So that's all this summer. We have this. So we just went through this Cazimi sequence. We went through the total solar eclipse, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, all that crazy space weather back in May. And now we have this long duration square between Jupiter and Uranus to contend with. And so that is going to be something that is really going to be bringing up a lot of the energy and themes of what happened in 2020, what happened in 2021, because their conjunction occurred winter solstice of 2020. And so everything that occurred in 2022 is going to get brought up again with that square, but now from the perspective of Gemini and solstice. So hi everyone, if you're in here, we are going to be doing a group Om meditation at the end. I'm just going to wrap up by doing an Om for however long I feel like I can keep it up or want to. And you're welcome to join in so we can build that resonance mesh. And so we've all gone through a lot of different things. I mean, I could tell you all my stories. We could form a line. Everyone could sit here and talk for hours about what they've gone through for the past few months, I'm sure. And collectively, we are all going through that together. Everyone is just a different facet of the same gem. And we're all just hitting light in different ways and expressing it in different ways and undergoing our own consciousness evolution journey, but it's all pointed in the same direction towards God consciousness, Christ consciousness, Godhead, whatever you want to call it. And so doing this sort of live stream where we just kind of, sit in this resonance field helps us to merge all our energy, information, experiences together, and without necessarily having to, let's say, go to therapy or journal up some things, we can reformat those energies into a very nice kind of crystalline shape into our body, store it better. People, I think it's easy to forget sometimes some of these aspects of our reality that aren't in front of us. You're sitting in traffic, you're looking at all the cars and the honks, and you're hearing all this stuff, but we forget that our bodies are 99% water molecules. 99 out of 100 molecules in your body is water. They hydrate and fit into every single nook and cranny at the molecular scale, and they're each a little magnet. They store all this energy and information within them. And so you're constantly just being exposed and carrying that energy and information with you forward, both what you're internally generating and also what you're being externally given. And so it's important that we look back at what happened and format those energies appropriately so that we don't carry discordant energy forward, non-resonance forward, because that is what leads to chaos. Now, chaos is an order beyond our understanding. I think, I believe that everything will work out in the long run. Eventually you do get there, but you can get there faster. You can get there more harmoniously, more peacefully. That's what I believe. So working on this and just bringing consciousness to this is very important. So our sun has a lot of solar activity coming up for us, and that is something that we're going to have to contend with in addition to everything else that's been occurring. It's going to keep occurring in the background with the planets and with the geophysical energy fields. So I want to also discuss the fact that unless it's popped back up, we have Tomsk is down right now. So I'm loading right now sos.rff.tsu.ru, the Tomsk Schumann station. So anyone that's wondering why it's down, it sometimes goes down. They're maybe doing web maintenance or something. But it's not like the Schumann resonances are down, Earth's brain waves, you could say. So too long to respond. But if we go here, they should have a new image up now. Okay, they don't. But this is the image for the 23rd of June, UTC time. So we are now for Europe, for example, it's like the 24th now, but here in the States, it's still the 23rd. And so we do see our Schumann resonances very nicely, of course. Everything is normal there. Let me reposition this. I think I can, something like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. So we see our Schumann resonances here, mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, mode 4, mode 5, going all the way up to 33 hertz, mode 6 right there at 39. And so our energy fields are there. They're always resonating. Just because one station goes down doesn't mean that the Earth is collapsing or something, or we've shifted timelines. That's just a monitoring station out of Russia. It doesn't mean anything. We have these other stations like out of Hungary. So if you're actually in Europe, I know I have a lot of European viewers. If you're in Europe, Central, Western, even Eastern, like up to the border of Russia, this station's the one to go to. So I'll put a link. I think there already is a link in the video description. So FYI. But our background energy fields are normal. And the reason I wanted to talk here for a moment is because we receive all these energies. The sun is giving us all this new energy and information. The planetary resonances are changing the archetypal energy fields that we live in, bringing new themes to light that we should live through, like faded themes that we need to live through. And there's different slots, I believe, for us. Like, am I going to jump through slot 1 for fate, which is the lowest expression? Am I going to jump through slot 5, which is the highest expression, and hopefully, less suffering? Maybe greater impact. Quickens the consciousness evolution journey. But these planetary resonances, these archetypal energies bring up these faded interactions for us to navigate. We all have them. With people from our past lives and new interactions that are coming in for the first time, our own personal, volcanic energies, you could say, erupting from within. Right, all the stored latent energy within us that is now it's time to be brought up for processing. For example, trauma from childhood, from later in life, any of this stuff. Our energy body, our energy field, all being held by this crystalline water matrix that we live in, plus more. That's just the biggest player there. That is all being radiated out every single second around the world and bleeds into the Schumann resonances. So these energy fields here, while they are stable and they're generated by things like lightning strikes and generated by the sun, like radiation from the sun hitting the ionosphere, also they can be generated from things like earthquakes and volcanoes. Anything that's part of the global electric circuit influences the Schumann resonances, and we are also part of that. The global electric circuit goes around us. When you're grounding, when you're earthing, when your feet are on the ground, the voltage potential equalizes. Your body voltage goes to 0. It's anti-inflammatory, resets your autonomic nervous system. You go from sympathetic to parasympathetic. It's really good for you. Helps you to calm, relax, de-stress. Your anxiety goes away if you have any. Helps you to digest better, normalizes all the rhythms of your digestive system. The peristaltic waves, the slow, smooth muscle contractions of your intestines, they normalize. And so our energy body that we carry radiates this all out. And while my impact may be small, like my Schumann resonance brain waves and heart rhythms may, on the scale of physics, be very, very minor and weak, they are influencing the Schumann resonance. Like, they are integrating into it, and it's also integrating with me. So collectively, here's where it's important. I think one individual person can have an impact. Sure, absolutely. I'm never going to deny that. But collectively is where our power is. And so if we go through this integration and reformatting, then we now have people all around the world, a greater and greater number, putting better, more harmonious energy into that Schumann resonance fractal mesh information network, and that is what carries us forward. The thing you think about is like the caterpillar. There's actually some caterpillars right outside the building here, and one of them has already spun its cocoon. The other one is just starting. I should check it today. I haven't seen it for a couple days. But what happens with the caterpillar is really interesting. You probably know this, but the caterpillar cells stay caterpillar cells, and the butterfly cells, it's turning into a butterfly or a moth. They start to eventually outnumber the caterpillar cells. So at first, the caterpillar cells sees these butterfly cells as invaders, and it activates an immune response, and the whole caterpillar is just turning into mush and jelly. It's crazy. But eventually, the butterfly cells outnumber the caterpillar cells, and then the transition happens, and all of a sudden, boom, you get this butterfly breaking out of the cocoon and flying away. And so the more of us that are doing this, the more of us that are coming online, that are integrating these practices, that are earthing and grounding, right? Equalizing to the earth, carrying her consciousness with us and radiating out our own, divine spirit consciousness out to the world, the faster that transition between caterpillar to butterfly can occur. And there's always going to be caterpillar cells, and eventually they just don't make it. But there are also plenty of people that are becoming butterfly cells, and so that transition occurs. I just also want to look at the current chart. I think I have it right here. Yeah, so here's our current astro chart, and we can just talk about the current energies. Yeah, Schumann resonance. It's great. So, and then we'll do a very quick Q&A before our group AUM meditation. I hope many of you join me for that. The more people that join in this group meditation, the better, because the way resonance works is, for example, you're on a noisy bus and you're AUM, you're doing some sort of AUM meditation, right? There's nothing really nearby you that's the same vibration. And so there can actually be deconstructive interference. Like, I'm sure everyone's experienced where they've said something or they've made some sort of noise and it felt like it was being stifled like this. Like almost like it was being pushed back into you. And that's deconstructive interference. You had all these other vibrations that were not resonant with what you were doing that were more powerful, and so they pushed your vibration field lower and closer in. So if you're on the bus and you're doing this, you have all these other people talking, all the noise, honking, all this stuff, you're going to have your overall vibratory field weaker and smaller than it would be if you had everyone on the bus go AUM. Everyone on the bus goes AUM. And so, or at the park, or in like a concert hall, let's say, you could really get that whole space vibrating really amazingly if everyone did an AUM meditation or, hit the same note or something, or drumming or playing. And yeah, thank you, Jack. And you're welcome. I'm happy to do this. And so the more of us do these sort of group AUMs and meditations, the more powerful the effect is. And ideally, we would all be together in one location, but also being spread out across the world, we form this mesh network. Vibrate with the bus. So I think it's important to also do actual vibration, like that we can hear auditory vibration, right? Sound. Because while group meditations are important, meditation is also hard. I mean, I've been meditating a lot more recently, which has been great. And I'm not by any means a Zen master or anything, but meditation's hard. Let's be real. Like the amount of times I had to take like my brain and refocus it on my breath is insane. And so let's be honest, during a lot of these group meditations, it's just a whole bunch of discordant thoughts that are occurring. And unless you get a whole bunch of practice masters together, it's great. It's better than nothing. Absolutely. But it's also a lot of discordant energy in there. But if we are AUMing, AUM, it clears your mind, it stabilizes your heart rate, and it creates a sound that everyone can make. And you're not going to be making some other sound instead of AUM. You know that you have to AUM. So it's a complete check and verification proof, like all in one. And it's not like, oh, everyone, how was your meditation? Yeah, it was good. But actually, Susie was thinking about her bill and her car insurance payment the whole time because she's stressed about it. And she just couldn't get it off her mind. So the AUM takes you back to center every single time, puts you right in your heart space and pushes that out to everybody. So our current energies, we're about to do it. Our current energies, this is for just today, the astrology for today. We see that we just now started to move into Cancer. So we have the sun at 2 degrees Cancer. We have the moon now still less than 30 degrees away from that full moon. This is actually where it's going to be basically for the next full moon. So it's going to do a full rotation around, new moon conjunct the sun, and then it's going to show up again for another full moon in Capricorn. So we're in this very interesting double Capricorn full moon sequence right now. So if you're into this astrology or anything, I'd really recommend you look to see where Capricorn is in your chart, because that area is getting hit like double right now. And so for me, it's the 9th house, all about spirituality and travel and higher education. And so it's very fitting for me at least. And so I'm sure it's going to be very fitting for you wherever that is, and if you have points and planets there and everything. So we have this happening. Back here in Gemini, everything was squaring Saturn, or squaring Saturn and Neptune and Pisces. There were these squares because they're both mutable. Now we have all these trines that'll be forming. So all the kind of, not hardship, all the difficult things that we had to like kind of re-examine, take a step back and then move forward with these squares that we had with the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Gemini, they are now moving into a water trine with Saturn and Neptune, which is really fantastic. Saturn goes retrograde this week, and then Neptune follows. And that's actually a really big energy sequence we have coming up with the Neptune retrograde. That's going to be on July 2nd. And it's at 29 degrees, 56 minutes of Pisces. So it's 4 arc minutes away. 4 arc minutes away from the end of the zodiac right there. It decides that, you know what, I need to go back and do a little bit more work here. And then it's going to go back in retrograde. Just a couple degrees, but it's not moving into Aries. This is the final degree point. So this is important because I think what we've seen with this movement of Neptune through Pisces is that we have the age of Pisces coming to an end. We have the age of Aquarius coming up in 2100. This is based on my calculations. I talk about all that in my planetary resonances course. That's coming out this week. The age of Pisces is coming to an end. We have like 80 years left, basically. Neptune does 164 years to go round. So next time it shows up in Pisces, it's actually going to be the age of Aquarius. This is Neptune's final time in Pisces during the age of Pisces. And now it's at the final degree, the final moment for its, Pisces effectively time during the age of Pisces. And so we've seen now, since going back to the age of Aries, where all these original energies and a lot of enlightenment ideas were created, going back to the Greeks, going back to the Vedics before the Greeks, and then going into like a lot of the Islam, and then also what we saw with the church, and then going into the spirituality movement, all the pagan religions, spirituality movement of the late 1800s, and then going to now today, we've seen this mass explosion and plethora of spiritual ideas and beliefs and practices, and I'm just one cog in that. I'm just a little piece of algae floating on the ocean, looking at everything and just pulling in what resonates and combining it together. That's what I do. I don't have any particular faith or practice. I just really try to resonate with the truth as much as possible and then draw that into me magnetically. But we have this sheer plethora because we're at the very end of this sequence. 29th degree Neptune in Pisces. Last time it's going to be in Pisces for the age of Pisces. And so in this ocean, there's also a lot of other stuff. There's oil spills, right? There's the great white shark. There's the crazy colossal squid monster. There's all these crazy things that aren't true. The ocean hosts everything. The ocean hosts both truth and also, light and dark and all these aspects of reality. And so we have this sheer plethora of information now. And so it's very important that we are able to see through any deception and really come to terms with what the truth is, which may be difficult for some people. Maybe, I actually don't have that psychic gift that I said that I do, right? Or it could be conversely, I do have psychic gifts that are actually kind of scary for me to come into power with because it takes me into fields that I'm very uncomfortable with and that are scary. Like if you've ever had an encounter with like dark forces or anything of that nature, it's not fun. But at the same time, we have certain gifts that we need to, we have responsibility with and need to fully embody and come into power with. And some people don't have those. And, there's deceivers and liars and deceptors out there. And so right now we have a lot of that. And that is going to be condensed and cleansed with Neptune going into Aries next year. And then it goes in later, 2026, with Saturn at the same time, conjunct. That's going to be a very big formative moment where a lot of this stuff things will be much clearer once Neptune's in Aries. But we also have this tremendous gift right now with Neptune in Pisces at this final degree. And so it going retrograde, July 2nd, is going to, I think, be a pretty big wave spiritually. A lot of people may feel that don't look at the sun on July 2nd unless there is something happening. Don't look at the sun for your answer. It's probably because Neptune's going retrograde. Like these retrogrades for the outer planets can be very powerful. Don't underestimate them. That's why I started studying this. I know a lot of people study space weather, but they don't study astrology. That's like one step beyond maybe kind of their comfort level. They used to be me, not anymore. This stuff works. Once you learn it, it just clicks after a certain period of time. Everyone learns at a different rate. But at one point, it just clicked for me. I was like, I get it. I understand it. I see it. So big energy wave coming up, like tidal wave, kind of like change of the tide with Neptune turning retrograde July 2nd. Then Pluto is going to be back in Capricorn starting September 2nd. So we have Pluto right here. And so at the end of that whole sequence with Jupiter and Saturn going square, which is July 29th to September 16th, 5-degree orb. Their conjunctions on the 20th of August at 17 degrees of Gemini and also Pisces for each one of them. Near the end of that sequence, Pluto is going to move back into Capricorn for the final time and then move into Aquarius again back in December. And so that's going to be Pluto's final trip in Aquarius before the age of Aquarius, right? Same deal, 248-year cycle for Pluto. So it's not going to enter into Aquarius again until we're like nearly 100 years into the age of Aquarius or more like 200 years into it. And so this is really going to be a big sneak peek as to what the age of Aquarius is going to be like with the transit of Pluto through Aquarius. We've been seeing some of these energies now, 0-1 degrees, but once it moves back in December, it is in Aquarius and it'll stay there until 2044. So a lot of new Aquarian energies coming in right as these Piscean energies are leaving, and the two are going to be sloshing together for a while too. They're right next to each other. They're very different. They're very similar. And so that also is going to cause like a psychic energy churn, you could say, in the background. But really, coming up, we have these really nice trines between Pisces and Cancer. And then everything eventually will move into Leo. We got some action there coming up. And then Mars is going to be hitting 21 degrees of Taurus on July 5th, that great conjunction point. And then it will go conjunct Uranus at 26 degrees of Taurus on July 16th. So that's also a time period to look at as well. So I think that covers it. If you have any questions, ask them now. We'll do a very short Q&A, do at Stefan Burns, and then we'll do our group meditation. But I know some of you probably have some questions. We'll do very brief, like 3 questions or something, and then we'll get into it. I hope you're all having a great time, enjoying the chat, enjoying your Sunday. For people on the East Coast, it's now kind of late, 10:16. For everyone on the West Coast, it's still early, everyone in between. Hope you're enjoying your evening. All my deep followers. Where am I? Oh, you're maybe talking to someone else. Okay. Well, I don't see any questions coming in, so this is kind of your last moment to at Stefan Burns ask me a question. Yeah, I do wear sunglasses every now and then. Thanks, Jeff. And so I would recommend you now to find a comfortable seated position. Take off our sunglasses. Well, I think you can wear them, but don't wear them too much. Some people wear sunglasses all the time, but your circadian rhythm is guided by the light that you receive directly, especially if they're like polarized and UV filtering. That changes a lot, especially UV filtering. There's research that came out that shows that if you block UV light from hitting your eyes directly, it subdues your natural response to strengthen against ultraviolet light from the sun. And so if you are, let's say, wearing shades at the beach at noon, you're going to get a worse sunburn because you're wearing shades than if you have that UV light coming in. And then it'll basically tell your brain, hey, put up the defenses, right? The sun's out. So, when it's super bright, I put on my sunglasses, but I also make a point to not wear them all the time. My favorite crystal, a lot. I mean, I love quartz. I'm wearing quartz right now. Moldavite's great. I have a really nice lapis just over on the windowsill in the sun that I've been really enjoying, the sphere. But quartz is an amazing crystal. I would like to get a hold of more corundum and also diamond. I really like to work with diamond, like some big pieces, but I mean, that's so bloody expensive. I have to become very wealthy to get, I want to build these pedestals. Like I want to get my own homestead, like a very big piece of land, and put up energy altars and like a grid, and then have group ceremonies where we're like working with these massive crystals and doing energy reformatting and energy broadcasts with them. So like the person who's good with the obsidian is like working with the obsidian, and the person who's good with the rose quartz is working with the rose quartz. So I would like to do that, and I like to get some of these rarer, bigger stones so you can work with them energetically. But at this point, it's not possible. Thoughts on light therapy? Red light therapy is good. I think the best red light therapy is going outside and getting sunlight. But if you have a red light therapy device at home, that's good. Also, there's other types of light therapy, just normal light therapy or sun gazing, for example, sunset, sunrise. And light in general is our reality and our consciousness. So that's really very key to be equalized with your light environment and to be very conscious of your light environment. I mean, Wi-Fi networks are also light. Thank you. Crystal money. All right, I will save it for the big piece of obsidian. They have those. Sometimes you go to crystal stores, you'll see these massive stones that they have in the center, and the price tag is like $20,000. It's like, whoa. But eventually I'll get those, and I'll have this whole crystal like network set up in like one of these energy vortexes. It'll be awesome. Red light panels, yeah, I've used them before. It just depends on what you're using it for. You have to have a reason, and yeah, I mean, it depends on that. You can buy them for cheap. You can actually buy photodetector panels that also use same wavelengths of light, like where they basically the night lights that will catch like deer or intruders on your property. They also use infrared, so you could use that. It's much cheaper than like the official red light, ones that they sell. Several gardeners are posting on various sites that their sunflowers no longer turn towards the sun. No, I don't know why. I'm sure they'll turn around. Maybe they're going through a phase. The sun is pretty strong right now. I mean, we're at solstice, right? So if you're in the northern hemisphere, solar strength's at the highest. Maybe they're just turning away just briefly because right now it's a little too strong, and then they'll come back. But I don't know why. Okay, so how about sunscreen? Well, I also don't I'm trying to stay away from sunscreen. Thank you, Trisha. Thank you, Trisha. Amazing. For example, I was at the beach today, and it's nice and hot and sunny here in San Diego, and I went at early time, and so I was out for as long as I could. I have a really good feeling now with my skin. I know when it's time to cover up. It's taken me a long time to develop that sense, but at the moment I felt that, I covered up, and so I wasn't wearing without my shirt on for that long because I was also in the sun yesterday, but I'd rather not wear sunblock and cover up early and get the right amount of sun and have a really good base tan, right? I'd rather have a great base tan instead of slathering myself up with all these chemicals, and then the seawater reacts with it, and no, it's not good. But I mean, if you are going to go to the beach, for example, and you're going to be there for 8 hours, wear the sunblock, right? If you just know it's going to happen, but if you have this flexibility and mindfulness, then I think avoiding that's best, and using other UV blocking technology like a shirt is better. As an Aquarian Pisces sun, does that impact with these current transits? If you're on the cusp, yeah, I mean, you're going to be feeling it very strongly if you're on the cusp of Aquarius and Pisces. But beyond that, I mean, yeah, you have a lot happening there because Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto are all in your area. So have fun, Dishiri. Sorry, but have fun with that. What about all the early dawn light? Yeah, that stuff's great. I think light from the sun, like sunrise and sunset, is best. For example, I often will skip the beach during high noon and like that period. I'll go at like 4 p.m. Then you can not have to worry about sunblock, and you can also stay out and exposed for like 3-4 hours. So now you're producing a lot of vitamin D. You're not getting the radiation because it's cutting through more atmosphere, and you also get a beautiful sunset at the end. So it's really a win-win. Does Betelgeuse have an effect on any of this? I mean, Betelgeuse is very far away. It seems that it's going to supernova or something at some point, but we have no idea when. It could be 50,000 years from now. We have no idea. Anyone that's telling you they know when Betelgeuse is going to explode, unless they got some special information. There's no way that they know. They're just making it up. They're making shit up. So, hey, welcome to Soul Tribe. So, yeah, I mean, everything's connected in the universe. Betelgeuse is pretty close by. It going supernova does speak to some building energy in our like universal network that's ready to transmutate. But in terms of like day to day, I stubbed my toe. Oh, that hurts. Dang you, Betelgeuse. It's not how it works. Sunrise is early in northern U.S. and southern Canada. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. What's early? Sunrise, sunrise is going to be earlier. We're at solstice right now. So you're going to have the earliest sunrise and the latest sunset during solstice. That's how it works. That's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of people that's making a lot of stuff up right now with this Neptune at the final anorect degree of not only Pisces, but the full zodiac. And so just apply, but there's also all these Gemini energies, all these mental energies. And so people are craving stimulation. And I mean, I know I'm a little bit guilty of this. Like I like to have something often playing I can listen to. I process a lot of information. I'm good at that. That's one of my gifts. But I'm just seeing a lack of quality on YouTube, for example. I'm just like, I'll scroll. I'm like, what is this? There's like nothing good here. And then there are some good channels, but they're not releasing videos every day. But some people are, and those people are often the ones that aren't really, they don't have the quality to them, right? They're willing to cut corners. My opinion, my thoughts, just sharing that. Do I know what's happening with asteroidal energy that we're getting today? I mean, we could check what asteroids are in our near-Earth environment. Spaceweather.com. They're a good website. They're sometimes a little late. Sometimes they're also spot on. But they have this near-Earth asteroid section here. And so if we look here back on June 29th coming up, we have an asteroid that is 158 meters in diameter that's going to pass within the moon, according to their calculations. Right now we have a few that are further out, but this is really the one to watch for asteroids. But I mean, I don't really track asteroids. I mean, if it hits, it hits. But in terms of like specific energy signatures coming in from asteroids, yes, but also no. We have a whole bunch of these, and they don't have magnetic fields. They're made of metal. They're interacting with our magnetosphere, I'm sure, if they're passing through that tail region, but they don't have magnetic fields of their own. They're conscious, but not as conscious as I would say the planets. There's a billion things you can look at. I should probably look at this more. I should probably look at it more. But I also don't think it's the most important thing to look at. But it's interesting. So yeah, mark your calendars, June 29th, I guess. You know, fairly big one coming in, 158 meters. This guy's huge. Look at this one. 2,304 meters across. But that's going to be passing quite a ways away, 13 lunar distances away. So thankfully, because that guy struck, it'd be game over for us. So yes, time to do the meditation. Thank you, Jack. Bring it back on track. And let us get in a comfortable seated position. And wherever that is, seated or cross-legged. I'm going to be cross-legged, and I recommend you maybe take a few sips of water, clear your throat, and just follow my OM as best you can. I have a fairly long one, so if you need to stop and breathe, just OM freely. And can I push this back a little bit? 1 second. We're just okay. All right, everyone. I invite you to close your eyes. If you have a special mudra you like, you can do that. I'm going to be doing the one for the crown chakra. So you get your pinkies, index fingers, just like this. And this will bring in some of that cosmic intelligence and information. You can just rest that in your lap. And just start with some deep breaths from your belly. Then into your chest. And then just let it roll off. Just notice where your breath is. where your mind is, just awareness. And let's work to deepen and slower our breath. So lengthen your exhale, do a vacuum. Expand your rib cage and your lungs, bring in more air. Let's just do a few breaths like that to expand and to build our resonant chamber. Sigh to let it out. Draw your attention to your third eye. And to your heart. You can place your hands on your heart to feel it. Check in with your breath. Where are you now versus where you were? Lengthen and stabilize. And you can keep with your breathing, and you can also join in on the AUM anytime you wish. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste. You may continue your meditation as you desire. I wish you all well, love and light, blessings. Much love to everyone here. Thank you all for joining today in this energy integration and group AUM meditation. I'm going to be signing off now to see the sunset. I wish you all a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Namaste. God bless. Love you all. See you soon.